World of Warplanes tips. These are tips that I created after playing the video game World of Warplanes. Number one, aim for the closest target. This is just because if there's lots of targets and you aim for the ones that are far away, they might be outside of your range. And if you don't know what the range of your shots are, then you might be firing and it would not be possible to do damage. The in-game indicator does not show you the range of your weapons. It just shows you like an average range for, it's not a weapon range. Don't waste ammo or firing. Only fire when you expect to hit. So there's going to be situations where you can obviously waste ammo, but in general, you want to avoid firing if it's impossible for you to hit the enemy. And the reason why is because your guns are going to overheat. You might have to reload, etc. You don't want to be in a situation where you're reloading and you can't fire at somebody. Prioritize enemy aircraft that is firing at your allies. Sometimes you do have this option. You'll see somebody, you'll know he's firing at your allies because you'll see shots coming out of his gun. So you can prioritize them if you have a choice, and it might help your team out because sometimes when people are under fire, they panic and they do an evasive maneuver and they have to call off whatever they were doing, which is usually firing at your allies. Look for enemy targets that are alone or separate from their allies. So if you're looking at the map and you see a large group of people and then you see one guy all by himself, you can go for those targets. You don't have to, but his allies won't be able to help him. Sometimes what I do is I stay away from the group. This way they don't go after me, and I just sit there and fire away. Nobody does anything. Always try to maneuver yourself to be behind the enemy if possible. This is an obvious one. If you're behind the enemy, you get a lot more time to fire. Watch the minimap, try to fly to appear behind the enemy. So you're going to watch the minimap, and you're going to watch where the enemy is flying. And you're going to try to maneuver so that you show up behind him. And it's easy to do. You just watch the minimap, you watch the direction he's going in, you watch where you're going, you position yourself so you pop up behind him. And, you know, the way pilots used to do is they used to have to look out the windows and see where they are. But you got the minimap that makes it a lot easier. When evading the enemy, don't merely do a roll. You will remain an easy target. So what some people do is they just start doing a roll, like a barrel roll, and unfortunately it's not effective because you just it still makes you an easy target. What I usually do is I dive for the ground, and the reason why is because going for the ground you're going to pick up speed, and it's going to be harder for him to track you. And you know, if you can run away, it's to your advantage, or if you can go under him, there's lots of different ways obviously to get away, but the roll is not the way to do it. Look at the minimap to see the direction of enemy aircraft or whether they are behind you or approaching you. So I watch the minimap, and if I notice that somebody is coming up on me, I just assume he spotted me and he's going after me. Practice using the boost and use it when you need to escape danger. So you get the boost for free, and you know you want to use it. So if someone's coming after you, that's a good time to hit it. Try to release your bombs early in battle to ensure you use them. Unfortunately, it does not make your fighter more maneuverable from what I understand. But you want to make sure you use them, so I release them as soon as I have targets. Your guns can overheat. Don't waste firing if you are missing your shots. If you can't fire for any reason, focus on maneuvering into a better position until your guns are ready again. So what I do, for example, when I do a bombing run, I drop my bombs. I know how long it takes for me to reload. So I fly away until it's halfway reloaded, and then I turn around, and usually I'm reloaded right at the point where I'm above a target. So you can do the same thing when you're flying. While you're reloading, fly away until you're halfway reloaded, turn around and come back. Try to bomb at a relatively low altitude, but not so low that you destroy your own plane from the radius of the bomb blast. If you get too low, you can destroy your own plane. Don't follow other low-flying planes who might drop a bomb. You might get damaged or destroyed in their bomb radius. If you have a tail gunner, make sure he's able to fire at anyone following you by using proper positioning. So as a bomber, we have tail gunners, and I fly at a high altitude. Sometimes I turn the plane upside down so the tail gunner can hit enemy targets that are beneath me. I watch their altitude, and when they're within range, I flip over and start firing at them. You need to fire where the enemy plane is headed, not where it was. In many cases, you have to aim in front of the plane. Be aware planes can quickly change direction. After dropping a bomb, pull up and climb. This is assuming that you're low to the ground. Practice finding the closest aircraft and getting behind it. So that's what I do. I look at the mini-map, look for the closest enemy aircraft, get behind it, start firing. I use the mini-map to figure out how to get behind him. Use the trail left by the target's fire to determine exactly which direction he's headed. So you see an enemy plane, and he's firing. He leaves a trail of gunfire. Aim into that trail of gunfire, because he's heading directly in that direction, and you're more likely to hit him. Use the sniper mode for distant targets. Learn to use the triangular indicators to locate the enemy. Release the booster at 1 second or 2 seconds. So when you use the booster and you got like a second left, release the booster so it doesn't overheat. Watch your tracer rounds when firing at a fast-moving target because it will help you gauge your aim. Some planes fire through the propellers, some fire from the wings, and some do both. You need to learn all three. The easiest ones is through the propellers, but the ones that fire from the wings, they have kind of like a fixed distance or an optimal distance. If you're following an aircraft and he suddenly turns and starts running at you, he is probably a good player. So if you are following somebody and all of a sudden you see him turn and he's following you, get out of there. He's going to be a good player. That would be something that I would do. When under fire, angle your plane to show the enemy the smallest profile. Turn away from or into the stream of ammo and tilt your plane if the incoming stream has a wide spread. So basically, you don't want to show him the flat bottom of your plane or the top. You want to show him a small profile. So you want the front of your plane pointed towards him or the rear of your plane pointed towards him, and then rotate it once in a while, kind of randomly. And if you see his fire moving around, then keep on doing it. Turn away or into the stream of ammo, depending on where you are. So if you see a stream of ammo coming from the lower left to the upper right, you don't want to go to the upper right, you want to go to the lower left. If you fly outside the game boundary, autopilot will turn you around, but you still must fly the plane once you are inside the boundary again. Okay, there are more tips. One of them is when you're bombing, you can steal a ground target. Whoever gets all the sections gets the points. So if someone doesn't completely destroy the bomb segment, the section, you get the points if you get the last one. Okay, so there's obviously more tips over here. You can read them at cheapbooks.cc. Look for World of Warplanes. Go to the World of Warplanes section and look for World of Warplanes tips. You can see the tips over here. And today is April 4th, 2023. If a lot of time has passed, I may have added more tips onto the bottom over here. If you have any questions or comments, please post below. And I am the owner of cheapbooks.com, which is a website for selling books and textbooks.